Looking for clarity and confidence when it comes to decision making for your business? You've come to the right place. You're now listening to the Atomic Business Coaching Podcast.
Tom, I'm going to tell you, none of it fucking matters. None of this matters.
None of it?
None of it.
What doesn't matter?
All the things everybody's stressing about, everything they're worrying about. They're working with us in our community and one-on-one, and they're all so damn worried about everything. Now, it may be easy for me to say because I just got back from vacation, but none of the things everyone's worrying about really matters. It's like they put all this stuff on their plate to worry about, and it's not going to do anything for them. Have you ever seen when people start piling up all this shit that they're going to worry about, and it's not even going to get them closer to anything they're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, everybody does that. Everybody puts the unnecessary stuff out there so that they can appear as though they're doing something or have things to do. That's how I see it.
It feels good to them. They're like, oh my gosh, you know, like I'm doing all these things, and being away for a week, and it was really the first vacation in a long time. I didn't do any work. And I wasn't worried about it because you and I prepped before I left. And, I felt really good before I left. I felt really good when I came back. So I was able to feel really good when I was on vacation. And I was like, before I was getting ready, I'm like, oh my God, all this stuff really matters so much. And on vacation, I'm like, none of it didn't matter. What mattered is that I was going to be there with my family, right? And I was present, and I was enjoying my time. And my kids had a good time, and me and my wife had a good time. And like, that's the stuff that mattered. And the same thing goes for your business. It's like, what really matters? And I think people are worrying about all these complexities. And, our philosophy as business and life are simple. They're just not easy. But do people really embrace that? Or is it just a phrase they've heard us say and like, oh, okay, yeah, but that's what I mean. That's what I mean behind this.
You're bringing up simplicity, right? People tend to make everything much more complex than it needs to be. And we were working earlier, one of our sessions, we were with one of our clients, and he values simplicity. And he was saying all the benefits of keeping things simple. And if we just all did that, kept it simple, we wouldn't have to worry about what matters because we would know exactly what matters. It's when we get it convoluted with all these complex things and these extras, and we bring drama into our lives, and we bring all that stuff to the business, and then you lose sight of what you were working on, and you wake up one day and you go, what the hell are we doing? Where are we going? Why is this what we're doing? Does it really matter? And at the end of the day, you're right. What really matters is really up to you. What matters to you in relationship to your goals?
Well, that's it. See, that what you just said right there is the thing, is what matters to you. It's too many times people are so worried about either their competitors or judgment from their family or keeping up with the Joneses or anything else. And it's what matters to you. I'll give you an example. This morning, my daughter has a softball clinic this afternoon. And she's asking me, should I wear my jersey or a T-shirt? And I'm like, what do you want to wear? She's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to show up and nobody's wearing a jersey. And we go through this whole conversation, right? And it's like a 5-minute long conversation. And I could feel her stress.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what's really the matter here? And she's like, well, I don't want to look silly. I don't want to show up and be the only person that looks like this. I'm like, but what do you want to wear? And she's like, my jersey. I'm like, so wear your jersey. But she was so worried everybody else was going to be in a T-shirt and she was going to look silly. And I'm like, so, bring both and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I can't do that even. And, she's an 8-year-old kid. So obviously she's going to get stressed out about silly situations. But is it silly? Or is that what we all do? Are we getting stressed out about these situations of whether or not I should wear this thing or not? And oh my God, instead of just saying, what do I want to wear? And I'm going to do it regardless of the consequences. And that's the thing. Like, people are striving so hard to do great stuff, but is it even for them? Right. And that's what I'm talking about, is like, it doesn't fucking matter unless it actually matters to you.
Right. It has to matter to you. And that's such a great example. And I have a funny story to go along with that. When Andrew was younger, he had a coach and used to say, listen, baseball players wear baseball clothes when they show up to practice and games. Which if soccer players, they wear soccer clothes when they show up to play soccer. if you're going to be a player, dress the part and do the thing. And, as kids, they always worry about what people are going to think and all that. And it was a hard decision for Lily to make. And I totally get it because we've been there. I'm like, where's your baseball clothes? Why aren't you wearing your baseball clothes? Oh, well, everybody's in their practice stuff and we wear shorts and this. Oh, okay, but there's a uniform for practice and there's a uniform for all these other events. And, but my thing that I would say is, okay, Lily, wear your jersey. But if you really need to feel more comfortable, wear a t-shirt underneath it. And then you can always take your jersey off, right? It's be prepared too for don't cause more stress. Keep it simple. Right? Wear the jersey and wear a t-shirt that you could wear without the jersey underneath.
But and that is simple, right? And that was similar advice that I gave her. But what we do for our clients when I'm trying to simplify things, when you're trying to simplify things for them, is we ask them questions. So let's just take my daughter situation because it's probably relevant to many people in other situations, right? That weird stress that we get about something. If you take that, why does it matter what she wears, right? Why does it actually matter? Because what are we trying to accomplish? She's going to a softball clinic. I corrected myself. Lily, if you're watching, see, I corrected myself. She gets very mad when I say baseball, but she should.
She should.
It's softball. But what are we trying to accomplish? She's going to a softball clinic to learn specific things, right? Skills. So would that equipment prevent her, whether she chose jersey or t-shirt, would it prevent her from doing the thing that she's there to do? No. So that's what I mean. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you wear. You can certainly have a preference. You can certainly have an opinion of what's right or what's wrong, but does it matter? And should we just make the decision? Are we expending all this energy on making decisions that don't matter? When what really maybe mattered more was, are my cleats going to be laced up tight? Do I have the proper protective gear that I need for this thing? Correct. And this is what I mean. When we're running our businesses, sometimes you're worried about these things that don't matter, and you're not paying attention to the things that actually do. And the same goes for your relationships, and the same goes for your personal health and well-being. It's why are you worrying about if you meditated for 15 minutes or 10 today?
Right.
What were you trying to do? You're trying to clear your freaking mind so you can go take charge of the day. Right. And if you stressed about 10 or 15 minutes, you actually ruined the whole purpose of doing the thing.
Right. And now it's gone. It's lost its reasoning. It's lost its purpose for you. And you said something in there that it just hit me in a certain way. The protective equipment is so much more important than the rest of the uniform. But she was focused on something that didn't matter. But it mattered to her, but it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things because she needed protective equipment. Andrew is not allowed to go to any baseball practice without a cup on because he's a catcher. And that's just a hard and fast rule. And he would never go out without one. But that's what matters, right? Is the protection, right? It's the thing that's going to potentially save you a lot of trouble. And that's what we should, as business owners, you should be focused on the thing that's going to save you the trouble, not create more trouble. Say I'm thinking about every business owner we talk to, they talk about, I got to do my website and I got to do a brochure and I got to do this and I got to do that. Does it really matter? Do you really need a website? Websites are overrated now. It's landing pages, right? We had this conversation last week. It's about a landing page. But we get focused on the wrong thing and we miss the boat on the most important thing when we try to figure out what matters. Certain things don't matter. Focus on what's going to have the impact. That's what matters.
And that's what I'm trying to get at here is that all of us, we have to start asking questions of what am I trying to really accomplish and what do I need to accomplish that? If you have all that, sure, you can figure out what jersey to wear. Okay. Yeah. But you can figure out what website to design. But if you don't even know who your target market's going to be, then how do you design your damn website? Right? If you don't even know what your product is that you're going to offer, if you haven't refined it down to I 100% believe in my product now, then why are we worried about what social media content we're going to create? Right? Why are we worried about building a CRM if we don't know what data we need? And it's You worry about all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they one day will matter, but they don't matter right now.
Correct.
And that is the waste of energy that I see so many people just destroying for themselves. They're just using up all this time, all this energy, all this money on things that don't matter.
And they don't get started on the things that do. They never get started, and they procrastinate, and they never get to what they're trying to do because they're worried about everything that doesn't matter.
That's right.
Just start. Just start. How many times do we just say, go sell the fucking thing? Go do the thing. Stop worrying about all this. Oh, I got to file for an LLC. Oh, I need a website. Oh, I need a... No, you need clients to give you money. You need customers to give you money once you know what product you're selling. That's it. You got to know what you're selling and who you need to sell it to.
I said this a few weeks ago. There's 3 things you have to do.
Yep.
Prospect, sales, delivery. That's it. That's all you need to do. I need to find the people that I can talk to about it. I got to sell it to them, and then I got to deliver it. That's really all you need. You don't need anything else. And for most of us, we need one thing to do that. It's a phone. Right? Most people that are working with us are providing a service, right? And they need a phone, maybe a computer, but they don't need to go out and buy inventory and do those things or have a brick and mortar store. Just most people who work with us. There are some outliers that are still doing that, and you need those things. But for most of us, we need 3 things, right? You need potential clients, you need the ability to close them, and then deliver whatever you sold them. All the other stuff is nice to haves, right? You don't need a website. Tom and I had our first clients before we had an LLC, before we had a website, before we had a social media, before we had a company freaking name.
Yeah. It's crazy what we did, but we did it all eventually when it mattered, we needed to.
When it mattered. Right? But in the beginning, it didn't matter. We were just like, this is our product. That's our client. Let's go see if they want it. They said yes. We delivered. That's all that matters. Right? Like when you go on vacation, what really matters? Does it matter what restaurant you eat at, what seat you sit on the plane? Does it matter, what hotel you stay at, what part of the world you're in? Or does it matter for you that you needed a break from all the stuff going on in your business and your life? And that could have been sitting in your freaking backyard. And maybe all that other shit that stressed you even more. I got to spend all this money, and I got to take all this time, and I got to sit in an airport, and I got to go to a strange country, and I'm going to eat weird food. Maybe none of that actually gave you what you needed and what mattered. Maybe what you needed was just to relax. Maybe that's what you actually needed. And if you don't start asking yourself, what actually matters? What do I actually need? Why do I actually need this thing? Then you're going to go off and waste time, money, and energy over and over and over again, and keep looking in the mirror wondering, why isn't things going the way I want them to go?
And that's a great question. Why isn't the thing going the way I wanted it to go? Because when I designed it, it probably was the thing that didn't matter, and I missed the boat. I didn't do the thing I was supposed to go and do. And instead, now I've got all this mess because I never really looked at what really matters. Was it the jersey or the protective cup, right? What really mattered in that situation? Well, I chose the jersey. Well, that's why things aren't going the way they need to go.
So what do people do to choose? How do they search their mind, Tom? What mindset do they need to get in? What do they need to be thinking about, asking themselves so they can start understanding what actually matters?
They have to ask questions, like you said. It's a curiosity mindset. It's that I don't have the answers, and instead of saying that I don't have the answers and I don't know where to go, it's I don't have all the answers, so let me start asking let me start asking questions, and eventually I'll get to the question that really is the right question to ask. Because a lot of times we don't always ask the right questions initially. We get, because we're focused on what doesn't matter, we don't always ask the right questions. So if we start to ask more questions, and really, I mean, it's simple. Like you said, it's prospecting, sales, and delivery. Right? If you're stuck and you're trying to sell a product and you're trying to figure out what really matters, well, who's going to benefit from this? Who really needs this thing? Great. I found them. Now I can go sell them. Here's the thing that you need. And then deliver on that thing. But if you don't ask the question of who really needs this? Who needs what I have? Who wants what I have? Who could benefit from what I have? And is it really, what are you really selling? You're selling an outcome. You're selling a benefit. And if you don't ask that questions, you're never going to get to that. But the more questions, I tell you, I think I brought this up in the past, 80% of our language should be questions, especially as business owners, because that means we're in a constant state of evaluating what we're doing, not to paralyze us from overthinking, but asking the question to get to the next question, to get to the next question so we can get to the thing. That's what it's really about. So if you don't have I would say a learner mindset in this situation, because a learner is a curiosity mindset. If you're not remaining curious and asking those questions, you're going to miss the boat. Because when you go down, like when you go down that rabbit hole or that path to focusing on what doesn't matter, you're going to get stuck in the mud. And then it's going to be really hard because you're not going to be able to ask yourself the question, because your mind is going to be overwhelmed and you're not going to have the clarity or the lucidity to really say, what am I supposed to do here? Like, it becomes more of why am I here? And why becomes very defensive. And now you're in a fixed mindset because you've become defensive. Well, why am I here? Why isn't this working? What did you do wrong? And you're punishing yourself and you're letting your judge get in the way. So that puts you further in the mud, and it becomes very difficult to go to the learner mindset and ask the right questions.
Yeah, I love to use a methodology. I don't know where I got it from, but it's 7 whys. You ask the question why 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what matters right now? And let's say, there's so many of our clients in Project 2740 that it's like, I have to make enough money,
Yep.
Okay, well, why do you have to make enough money? And you would go through this 7 times. Well, I need to make enough money because I want to have a sustainable business. Well, why do you want to have a sustainable business?
Right.
Well, I want to have a sustainable business so I can quit my job and I can, make sure that this thing will support me and my family. Well, why do you want to quit your job? Well, I want to quit my job because I'm very unhappy doing the thing, and it doesn't make me feel good, but it pays my bills. And like, all right, why doesn't it make you feel good? Well, it doesn't make me feel good because I'm stuck in a situation that I don't control, and I feel I'm leaving too much of my potential on the table. And okay, so why do you feel not in control, and why is your potential left on the table? Well, because I went after the money. I didn't go after what I wanted to do. So is it about the money? And they're like, no, it's actually me doing what I want to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they're like, holy shit.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well then how do we organize everything around doing what you want to do? And maybe that means you have 1 car instead of 2. Maybe it means, you go on no vacations this year. And maybe it means all these things. But that's what actually mattered. The money didn't matter. What mattered was you felt this untapped potential in this like forced, for lack of a better word, slavery to a job. And it was like, what actually mattered was like you wanted to tap into this thing and have fulfillment.
Exactly.
And that's okay to want money. And it's okay to be like, I just want to be fulfilled. But you have to start asking yourself questions to get down to, why am I actually making these choices? Mm-hmm. Because most of the choices you're making don't fucking matter.
Right. That is a very effective strategy. The 7 whys. We also use what else? What else? What else? What else? What else do you want? What else? What else? What else? And what else becomes that emptying out. And you have to empty out to get to the root of exactly what you want, and you'll identify what matters in that process. It's a very effective strategy, and you can do it yourself. But 7 whys, limit 7, because you don't want to go into an analysis paralysis mode. You want to get to the root of what you're trying to do and what matters.
So listen, go ask yourself why, right? Go ask yourself what else. But figure it all out for what matters for you, not for anybody else. See you next time.